welcome. Today I get to talk to Nathan Greene. He is a psychologist and co-founder of Surf Circle, which is a therapeutic surfing program in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Mhm.
And at Surf Circle, they combine surfing and group therapy on the beach. Thank you so much, Nathan, for being here to share some of your insights with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Yes. All right. So my first question is, can you just kind of share a little bit about how you got started with Surf Circle?
Absolutely. So, Surf Circle was started by a group of four psychologists, and we were all working together at a community clinic in East Oakland that worked predominantly with foster and adopted youth. And we were doing the clinical work together, and some of us were in trainings, and then two of us were supervisors. And we would always connect around, we all happen to be surfers. And so we'd connect around our love for surfing. And we had a lot of conversations about how we were using surfing as a tool to metabolize all the trauma that we were taking in our therapeutic work. So it was so therapeutic for us as we were doing this work, and we always would kind of muse about how amazing it would be to take these kids that we were working out into the ocean and to get them exposed to this form of therapy. But it was sort of a pipe dream until I read an article in the Washington Post with that was about the Navy conducting this research with veterans with PTSD down in San Diego. And they were doing surf therapy, and it was a light bulb moment for me because I didn't know that surf therapy existed. And so from there, I had conversations with these three friends and psychologists, and we built that program. And so it started in 2018, and we started with teen boys. And the reason why was that we were just finding that teen boys were really struggling in a traditional model of sit on the couch therapy. And so we wanted to try something new with them. And we've sort of built the program from there.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I have there's a video in the training where I talk about like my journey into surf therapy, and I have some of the
Mhm.
same elements of like discovering it and being like, oh, it exists.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I never thought about being able to combine these two things that I'm so passionate about. Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm so glad you guys figured it out and got that going.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, okay, so I'm hoping to get some unique perspectives for potential students of this course. So one of the questions I'm asking is what has been a single incident challenge that you
Mm.
faced and how did you overcome it?
Oof. Well, we faced a lot of challenges in the building of the program. Um, we've discovered that we're much better psychologists and surfers than we are at running a business. So I could talk a lot about those, but the first thing that comes to my mind, if I think about a single incident that was probably the hardest for me, it was on our second time out at the ocean with our kids in 2018. Um, we had been working for months to build the group and to recruit and make the website and get our business licenses and insurance and all that. And we finally, get to go out to the ocean, and it's just a massively huge day. One of these huge days up here in the Bay Area where at OB it's like 10 to 15 feet. And where we're supposed to surf, which is Pacifica, was about probably 6 to 8 feet, which was going to be way too big for our kids. So we pivoted last moment and went to Half Moon Bay at this beach that we'd never been at before, which I will never do again. Um, but we get out there, and it's small and it's totally surfable. And I'm working with this teen boy, and and at this beach there's a rock wall that's like uh, I don't know what the name of it is, but it's like a protective wall of rocks that protects a road. Where the waves crash onto it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so
Kinda like a
there's
jetty.
a sea, yeah, like a jetty or a seawall. And so
Okay.
there's like the beach, and then there's this rock wall, and we're surfing out here with this kid, and the current just keeps pulling us closer and closer to this rock wall. And finally, it got us to the point where the waves were sort of crashing into us and pushing up us closer and closer to the rock wall. And it was an incredibly scary moment. And the kid sort of looks at me. I'm the surf instructor and the person who's in charge of keeping him safe. And he looks at me and, trying to figure out, are we going to be okay? And I just sort of got into that really focused mindset and um, communicated clearly to him, we've got this. Take the leash off your board. We're going to swim in. And just at the right moment, we were able to kind of swim around the jetty and get in and get on the shore. But it
Oof.
was it was really intense. And, I kept as a good protective instructor or parental figure or therapist would do. I really tried to keep my calm and reassure this kid because I knew that if I panicked, he would panic. But we just got into the shore and really, I said that was really intense. And it wasn't until the car ride home with our other instructors that I actually started crying. I broke down because it was really scary.
Yeah, I can relate. I talk in the training actually about like responding to a panic attack and like this
Hmm.
like just making like tapping into your for me I'll call it
Yeah,
like mama bear mode, like find
exactly.
that like all the anxious voices and the fears, like those are all there.
Yeah,
That's okay, but those are not who are like running the show right now. Tap into mama bear and like
that's right.
project a safety through your voice basically.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
But
what
I
did
learned so
you,
much from that.
yeah, what did you
Yeah.
change, if anything, about your like approach after that experience?
Yeah. I mean, um, definitely we're really conscientious about the size of the surf and going out, not going out if it's too large or too stormy. And also we never go to a beach now to be with the kids that we don't know really well. It's so important to know the currents and what's the where the rocks are and where the sandbars are.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's a great, I mean, not great, but also great story.
Great learning story.
It's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
emotional,
A
it's an
cautionary
intense
tale.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm also curious about like sort of more ongoing challenge, like what that's like a single incident challenge. What's one of the more difficult like ongoing or long-term challenges you've observed?
Yeah, I think, the first one that comes to mind is definitely the weather up here in the Bay
Oh,
Area. In the wintertime, it gets cold and rainy and windy, and the surf just gets too large sometimes. So we're constantly having to adapt to the weather. And the cold we can deal with. We have big parkas that the kids get into when we hold our group therapy on the sand afterwards. We bring little heaters. We have burritos to warm our hands. Um, so so we manage that, but surf therapy, you're just working in a medium that's constantly changing, and so constantly reacting to the environment. The wind. Sometimes we get big winds, and they'll pick up a board and flip it over, and yeah. So it's really we just have to really be conscientious about safety, um, and and responding to the elements. So that's one, and then the other one I would say is mostly um, I think the financial viability of the program is probably one of our bigger challenges. That this is a program where we meet once a month, um, and but it requires so much infrastructure outside of that meeting. All of our team meetings that we have, and our consultation meetings, and insurance is really expensive. Beach permits, rentals, food, materials, um, and we really have a lot of psychologists on staff. We're four psychologists and two trainees for a small group. So the financial sustainability is a harder part.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Do your participants, does their families pay for participation, or do you guys get grants? How does that work?
Yeah, we accept payment from families for the services,
Mhm.
and then we have had some success with providing super bills so that they can get insurance reimbursement. But it's not for all of the it's not for the full amount of or the full cost of the program usually. And then we provide some sliding scale spots in our program too. So
Okay.
we don't have we're not a nonprofit, so we don't have funding or grants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that as a theme. Like the value, the service, the healing is very valuable. But
Yes.
it like it's almost like that makes sense then that it costs us a lot of money to compared to just sitting someone down in the office. There's a lot
Of
more time,
course.
money, insurance, all of that to account for.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's definitely a labor of love for us.
I had a curiosity, just a like as a therapist curiosity when you were talking about the weather, the challenges with the weather. Have you ever been able to has that ever worked into the therapy? Like, I know sometimes when something goes, like, wrong,
Oh
it ends up
yeah.
having some, like, cool metaphor or lesson at the end. Does that ever happen with the weather challenge?
Oh, all the time. It feels like the ocean and the weather are another co-therapist with us,
Yeah.
right? And so, yeah, so it's another element in the treatment, absolutely. And there's so much metaphor that's present in it. So I'm thinking of a couple months ago, we came out to the beach, and what's normally a really sandy section of the beach had been really washed out, and it was super rocky. And it was uncomfortable, and the kids were like, what are we doing here? This isn't the right spot, and my feet hurt. And they were getting really frustrated with us. And so it was a lesson, I think, for us in responding to what's in front of us, right, and learning how to redirect,
Mm.
right. So we decided, okay, let's all get out, let's reassess, and where's a spot in the beach that we want to get back in that's going to be better for us. And how do we move through rocky terrain in our life? What do? Do we complain? Do we panic? Do we quit? Or do we find another direction to go in?
That's cool. Yeah, I'm like a metaphor nerd now from surf therapy. Like, whenever we find
Oh
a new
yeah.
metaphor, I get so excited.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the ocean is endless, and it's providing of that.
So I was especially happy that you were willing to do this interview because you have a unique perspective from me, from working with teens and adolescents. I don't have as much experience in that.
Hmm.
So I was curious, what would you say are like some unique considerations or things that someone working with teens would need to be aware of compared to maybe wouldn't really apply with adults?
Yeah, it's a great question. And just to say, so we have three different spaces now for teens. We have a group for neurotypical teen boys. We have a group for neurodivergent teen boys who essentially have autism or autism-like presentations. And then we have a group for um, teen girls and gender expansive youth. And so I think there's different considerations for each space. But one thing that I'll say about working with teens is, first of all, that they have a really strong bullshit meter. And so they require you to be really authentic. So I think in working with teens, they want you to bring your real self, and they bring us into and the adolescent parts of ourselves. So the way that we engage with them is spontaneous and authentic, and we let them use the language that they want to use, as long as it's not, harmful, of course. Um, so that's one modification I would say. I would also say that I think there's a module in your training about this, but there's a lot in adolescence around the body. And so we're very conscientious about um, body autonomy, right? So really seeking consent if we're going to be working hands on with a youth, which we almost inevitably are if we're pushing them into waves. So Um, that's another piece. And then I think in working with autistic and neurodivergent teens, we really had to change the structure of our program where they were not going to be interested in sitting in a circle and talking about the things that the neurotypical kids were: drugs, sex, relationships. Um, and so we really had to shift our modality where it's much more sensory based, where we're digging with them in the sand and having interactions with them in that way. And and having a lot more one-on-one interactions and sort of facilitating little moments of connection between them.
That's so cool. Thank you for clarifying that too.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a generalization to say like, what do you do different with teens? It's like, wait a minute, what there's like it's different for each person. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
so I love that extra insight. Um, and that totally makes sense to me. I feel like teens are like they're not kids, they're not kids anymore,
right.
but they're not quite adults, but they kind of are
Yeah,
adults, but their parents almost never have accepted that fact yet.
yeah, yeah,
So that like treating them with authenticity, respecting their body autonomy, it's like
yeah,
they're 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 mini adults, like they deserve
totally.
respect and they want the interaction of
Yeah,
that an adult would want, of course.
for sure. And I think they hunger for connection, but they also want autonomy. And so a lot of the times we're just kind of near them, and in the ocean, for instance, and waiting for them to invite us in to engage with them verbally.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
Yeah.
just me, but I definitely like my own awkwardness gets highlighted when I work with
Oh,
kids.
sure.
Like I'm like,
Oh,
there's so many
sure.
awkward
Yeah.
moments today. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, because they pull you back into that space of being
Yeah.
a teenager yourself, which is part of the beauty of it, but it can totally be uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah,
Uh,
me too.
so what's your one of your top advices to a new surf therapy provider?
Okay. Can I give a couple?
Yeah, that's why I was like, not your top because there'd be
I
no
don't
way
think I
to
can.
decide on
I don't think I
one
can.
and say
Yeah.
it's the best one. So yes, give us your top three or however many you need.
Yeah, I don't think I can do just one, but I'll try and be brief about it. So the first thing that comes to mind is, so I know that this program is for that surf therapist, uh, that there are people with licenses who are conducting surf therapy and people who don't have it. And there's incredible value in surfing in itself and being present um, with the people that we're supporting. Um, but I'll gear this a little bit towards clinicians, I think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So my first piece of advice is to go as deep into theory as you possibly can, as a therapist, um, because we think about at Surf Circle we work mostly psychodynamically with these kids, and we think about the theory as like that's sort of the reef that's um, under the surface that's shaping the waves.
Mm.
So the kids, I think when it's going really well, they're not even feeling as though it's therapy, but there's a lot that we are tracking and that we are um, formulating and that we are, threads that we're pulling upon that we're thinking of our case formulation and as we're working with them. So that's my first piece of advice: is to go deep in the theory, get great supervision, become a great psychotherapist, because um, if you're doing surf therapy that involves also individual therapy or group therapy, I think you have to have that foundation. The second piece of advice I have is to surround yourself with great people. One of the joys of doing this work is working with this group of clinicians who I respect and admire so much. And it's so rare in this work that we get to watch one another work. And so I love getting to learn from these people that I work with. And I think so much happens in a surf therapy day and even in a surf therapy moment that it's very helpful to have a bunch of observers around you so that you can come back together and unpack um, what there is to learn about these people that we're supporting through that interaction. And then the third piece of advice I have is to not reinvent the wheel and to talk to as many people who you can who are doing surf therapy, because there's a lot of yeah, there's a lot of wonderful people in the community, and almost everyone will be happy to speak with you and share about their experience. And you're going to make a ton of mistakes. And so it's helpful to get a little preview about what some of those mistakes are so you can hold them in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that because of wanting to include these interviews
Yeah,
in the training. And I'm hoping to interview someone from ISTO, but just in case I don't, I'll mention International Surf Therapy Organization. If anybody wants to follow the advice that you gave, is a great resource to find a lot of other surf therapy practitioners to connect with. Um, and
absolutely. Yeah. It's a
I
great organization that has a big conference every year. It's a great place to connect with people and learn how to build your program.
Definitely. Um,
Mhm.
and I also love your advice about connecting with others. I've been mainly doing just one-on-one sessions nowadays. And as you were talking, I was like reflecting back on when I did facilitate groups and had
Mhm.
the pre-session like prep with the team and then the post-session debrief with the team.
Yeah,
That's just such a cool, um, just extra layer of support and like deepening um, the acknowledgement of the cool things that happened too, not just the like, okay, let's process what we've been through, but also like,
oh
oh,
yeah,
so cool, like the stoke on like what happened to share it with other people.
absolutely, absolutely, and to think together about what um, the experience of these participants is telling us about them, right? And how we can help them to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our car rides home. We have a lot of infrastructure for that piece. Our car rides we drive together, and for us it's about an hour to get to the beach.
Oh,
And
wow.
so that's our consultation hour where we unpack everything that happened. And then every Friday we meet. We meet 4 times a month for one meeting,
Oh,
so we can think about our teens and our kids, and we also consult with one another about our private practice cases. So building that cohesion within the team and thinking together clinically really supports the work.
yeah. I really love hearing all of the time and energy and intention that you put into just like making sure to get the full therapeutic value out of this and for your clients. Is there anything that you want people to know as far as like supporting Surf Circle or
Oh,
connecting with
sure.
Surf Circle in any way?
Yeah, yeah. So we're in the Bay Area and we have openings in all three of our spaces: our neurotypical teen boy group, our neurodivergent teen boy group, and our teen girls and gender expansive youth group. And you can check us out at our website, www.surfcircle.org, or you can email us at info@surfcircle.org if you're interested in learning more, or talking about a family or a referral that you're interested in sending our way.
All right. Thank you so much for the interview. It was great talking with you.
Thank you so much.